Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Reno Uke Fest interview. We are here with Little Rev, who's one of the longest running ukulele performers in the country, I think. And we're so happy to have you here, Rev. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
We're doing these interviews, of course, so that we can allow our participants to get to know our artists before they come, give you an idea of what they're going to be teaching, and so you can kind of put together your workshop schedule. And so excited to have Rev back. Rev, you were at Reno, I think maybe 3 years ago, and I mean, of course, many, many times before that. But as far as Perry and I, we were there for our first year, 2022. It's great to have you
Yeah,
back.
I'm glad to be invited back. It's better than the alternative.
All right, I've got a few questions for you today, and the first one is, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, as far as, musical background and why I'm at where I'm at right now is probably hours of stories. But in a nutshell, it is, I grew up around some really great music. My mom sang a lot of Broadway songs. My grandparents, harmonica, piano. So from a very young age, I was always around music. My dad is an audiophile, and um, I was always playing a pretty wide variety of music, and that kind of led me down the rock and roll rabbit hole as a teenager. Electric guitar, because good guitar players got all the chicks, so that was also part of my motivation. But at some point in the early '90s, someone gave me a ukulele, and I fell in love with it, and started teaching myself. Eventually, started meeting other people who are really good and kind of showcasing the potential. When it comes to ukulele, my real fascination is syncopated strumming techniques, right hand technique. So rolls, triple rolls, syncopated strums, vaudeville tricks, things like that is really what drew me in, at least early on. And as has gone on, it's taken me down a lot of different avenues in terms of what one can pursue on the ukulele, from fingerstyle to single string lead, chord melody, campanella, and fingerstyle based approaches. And there's just a million different ways that you can go on the instrument. So that keeps me pretty interested. I have a degree in education, so I love to teach. And I was a classroom grade school music teacher for about a half a dozen years, as well as a college music lecturer for half a dozen years. And I left that in '05. Started writing instructional books for Hal Leonard, and really touring pretty heavily about 2005, 2006. And prior to that, mostly more Midwestern stuff. But then after that, I started crisscrossing the country. And last year in 2024, I hit the million-mile marker for a million miles traveled. Just looking at all my mileage reporting for my taxes and everything, and my combined Hal Leonard book sales easily tops over a million as well. I wish I could say that made me rich. It didn't. It made the publisher rich, but I don't say that sarcastically or begrudgingly. I'm grateful for my opportunities to write books for Hal Leonard, and as well as my self-published stuff too. So yeah, that's, I mean, just kind of a brushing over of a little bit. And now in 2025, I've been going pretty strong in terms of teaching now for easily 25 years, probably closer to 30, because I did quite a bit in the '90s. I just wasn't really on the national radar during those years. I was mostly around the Midwest doing stuff. And people jokingly call me the Johnny Appleseed of the ukulele because of all the miles I've traveled and got people started, beginning ukulele and all the other different classes that I've taught. That's a compliment. I've been called that. I've been called the Woody Guthrie of the ukulele. That's a compliment too. So I love to teach. I love to perform, and it's probably the most worthwhile thing that we can do is share what we know with other people, get them excited about it. You know, it's just a great thing that you can do if you end up being the recipient of a good teacher or choose to be a teacher. And America doesn't revere its teachers the way it should. So I try to lift up not just the student but the teacher as well, because you know, we don't do this to get rich. We do this because we love to share what we know, and we love to be educators. You know.
Well, and we get our rewards in those ways, right? Of seeing the students have the aha moment. I love the Johnny Appleseed analogy because I joined the ukulele world when I got out of school in 2010, and you were one of the first performers that we had come to the strum shop that my dad had started, and Dan Elliott in Roseville. And I remember, man, you taught me the figure eight strum, which
Yep.
I do periodically, and man, it's so fun. The audience, it makes me look so professional when I'm like, I just start. All you gotta do is move your arm this way and go like this, and people are like, "Whoa, wow, she really knows what she's doing." And you taught these triplet strums that I never did get the hang of, but I didn't practice them like I should. So yeah, you planted the seed in me certainly early on, and I thought I was gonna go off and do something else with my life, but you were one of the people that I was like, what? I can like travel around and do this for a living? This guy's doing it. Well, and one thing I really admire about your performing is that you always pay homage to the original writer of the song. You tell a story about the song in some way, and your introductions are beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So that takes us to question number 2. Tell us a little bit about your teaching philosophy.
Well, I kind of hinted a little bit at this. My goal is really lift them up, you know, lift people up, give them a lot of encouragement so that they feel like they can do it, and that means lift them up, never knock them down, and that's part of the process of getting people excited. There's a lot of anxiety in learning new skills, whatever they may be. And the stories we tell ourselves are sometimes rooted in other people's voices that we can or cannot do something. And whether we choose to listen to that or honor what our interests are and what gets us excited, the teacher's role is to convince people that they're capable of doing something. And then there's many aspects to that. One is you have to know if you are presenting the right material to the right audience. So it's important to know your audience. Who's coming to my concert? Who's coming to my class? Is this multi-level? Is this all beginners? Is it advanced? Your verbiage is real important so that people don't show up in the wrong place. And if you continue to teach, you're invariably going to wind up in a situation where you're going to have oftentimes a number of people who find what you're doing difficult, and so I think from the get-go of doing this traveling and teaching, I've always been fascinated by the idea of how do I make something harder if I need to make it harder, and how do I make this easier if I need to make it easier? Am I capable of, on the drop of a dime, doing that? And there are many variables to a little Rev class. I'm not a pushover. I don't want the one student who is a hot rodder to speed up a class that's largely beginner, advanced beginner, or even intermediate. And same way that I don't want one very beginner to slow down the class for what appears to be a room full of people who really want to be challenged more. And so that being intuitive enough to figure that out and knowing how to deviate and expand upon what you're doing is really important. But really my goal is inspiration and a little bit of perspiration, because you got to work for it too. Nothing comes easy, but if you can inspire people, I call my form of teaching edutainment. And edutainment means that you're having such a damn good time at my class that you're laughing a little because I'm telling jokes or quotes or proverbs and little things I like to put into my classes to inspire people so it's not so dry and like I'm talking, you know, at you all the time, but that you feel like there's room for reciprocity if that's necessary, and you're having a good time, you're laughing a little bit, and then when you leave, you realize not only did you have a good time, but you learned some things too. So yeah, as a person with a degree in education and a lifelong learner, you know, in many other things from Tai Chi to, you know, hunting and fishing to all kind of things that I like to do. You know, and I like to be the student too. So if you like to be the student and you're not too full of yourself, then you let the ego go, then you never forget what it's like to be that person who's sitting in front of you, and you have a vested interest in wanting to ensure that they leave there feeling like they learned something and that their time and money was well spent.
Well, Viggy and I took your class at Ashokan, and you were one thing I really liked about it is you started right out and you said, I'm letting you know right now that you are not going to be a master of this technique by the end of this class. And you gave some analogy, I can't remember, but the point was you're here to start to learn this, and we're going to do as much as we can in this class, but this is not a 1 hour technique. This is a 3-month technique or something like that. And I think that helped everyone relax a little bit and go, okay, it's not my problem that I'm not getting it right away. And I'm going
Yeah.
to take in as much as I can without expecting too much from myself and committing. He said it's 3 months. So I'm going to like mentally commit. This is going to be a 3-month technique, you know?
Yeah. I think you're talking about clawhammer.
That was it. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's not a one and done. That's a
Yeah.
3 to 6 month curve.
And everyone watching at home, when you're taking Rev's class, you can count on him being able to make sure that you can hear everything that's going on and still get a chance to practice during class. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be teaching at Reno this year?
So, yeah, um, I'll be teaching a level 2 class called Discovering Tremolo Technique on the ukulele. And tremolo is something that's done on every instrument. It's very pronounced on instruments like mandolin, tamburica, balalaika. There are many instruments that tremolo is inherent in the main aspect of learning. Ukulele, our initial foray into tremolo is if we're lucky enough to be a part of club and it's your first time or two, you sit up and you take notice at the fact that at the end of every song, the whole club goes like a bunch of Muppets, you know, and you go, whoa, what is that? And then you try to copy it, but nobody really shows you the form, the variety of ways in which the hand can be positioned that might be better suited for you. And so as with everything I do, I try to present a variety of different options, not to confuse, but to say, try these. Which way was easiest for you? Whatever way was easiest for you, stick to that way and get really good at it, and then give people the skills to learn tremolo. And so we'll be looking at all of those different ways. I think I'm going to be showing like 4 different ways to demonstrate demonstrating tremolo, and exercises, some songs to show you how tremolo works, whether they're the end of a song like Goodnight Irene, or maybe you want to start a doo-wop song out with, instead of just going, you want to go 2, 3, 4.
Nice.
So what are some practical approaches for using tremolo that you can start to do right away? And if nothing else, when everyone else is doing tremolo at the end of the song, you'll be able to do it real confidently and strongly at the end of that class. I enjoy doing that class a lot. And then I've got a newer class that I created um, from going down to like the Carolinas and doing a lot of festivals down in the Blue Ridge Mountains and in the Appalachian region of America where I find myself often. And so I created a class called Mountain Ballads for Uke. And that's also a level 2 class. It skews more towards repertoire. So there's a lot of really, really cool songs. I don't have the packet in front of me, but there's a few common things like Shady Grove, which are part of the old time string band repertoire and mountain music repertoire. And then there's lesser known things like Asheville Junction, Swannanoa Tunnel. We may look at a fiddle tune or two that's really synonymous and fun with mountain music, but a lot of ballad based stuff. Not just strumming, but there'll be some basic melodies for those who are melody players and they want to do more than just sing and strum as well. And I'll demonstrate a variety of ways in which those songs can be played. So people think about it, and there's a lot of really cool history in those songs. So anyone who likes folk music, bluegrass music, old time stuff, Scotch Irish influence in America, that's a really fun class. It's not going to be the class that you have to work the hardest in, but it'll be a lot of fun and very enjoyable and a really unique variety of tunes. If you're looking to build your repertoire for traditional material, then that's a good class. And let's see what else. A couple more here. Learn to play sitting on top of the world. This is an 8-bar blues, and anybody who wants to do the homework ahead of time, you can find a version. I think there's a version of Perry and I doing this on YouTube as well, if I remember right.
I'll find that.
Yeah, I know we did Buckets of Rain and You Won't Quit Me, Baby. I think we did Sit on Top of the World, if I remember right. But it's an 8-bar blues. It's an iconic tune. It was done by some really famous people like the Mississippi Sheiks and Howling Wolf, Doc Watson. And so what I've done with my arrangement is I've combined the best of some of the most iconic versions and kind of have a little rev version by sandwiching and piecing together some of the cool parts of each of the iconic versions. And it's really nice. Major chords, minor chords in there. A half step flatted 7th turn at the end of the tune is really cool. And a basic blues turnaround, which is, this kind of in there as well. So even for the non-melody players can sometimes learn a really basic blues turnaround, feel like they're doing something cool. I have a simple generic solo that I wrote out for it, and I can even tie in some strum hand technique if time permits. So you can learn how to take a blues song like this and go. So you can get some triplets in there and stuff like that. There's one called Super Easy Blues Solos in C, and this is basic 12-bar blues in C, using chord fragments, double stops, boogie woogie, little bit of blues scale or pentatonic with a flatted third. And so you don't have to be a master melody player, but it's also interesting enough for the really good players. I wrote out 24 solos in the key of C as part of an upcoming book project. When I have improvisational goals from a student, I want to learn how to solo Little Rev, then that's what inspired it. So my students inspired me to write these really fun, tasty, simple blues solos. Like here's my favorite one. I'll do just a little piece of it.
so much fun to play.
Yeah, so that's called the Jug Band Serenade. And I've got a lot of follow-up resources for people, or they can record in the class so they don't forget how they go. None of them are like, super, super hard or anything like that. They're very accessible, and they're things you'll want to play. And I show you how to take a generic solo and then integrate it into common songs, because there's a million songs that are 12 bar blues. So there's a lot of practical applications for these solos that you can do other things with. You can also break them apart, and regurgitate pieces of them so that you have something to play in another solo. If I teach a solo that goes, that's like every other Chuck Berry solo. So, and that's only the first four measures. So, anytime someone says take it and you're playing a 12 bar, if you know how to go, you can play that. And same thing with Boogie Woogie. So, once you learn a Boogie Woogie pattern, which you'll learn in this class, if someone says take it, you can just play that Boogie Woogie in a 12 bar. The only question is, can you play it at any tempo? And then there's a survey of triplet strokes, which you and I have already been talking about in this interview, and that is learning how to do a 1 2 3 pattern. Sounds pretty choppy when you first start doing it, but after you get it so that it sounds like a galloping horse, and then integrating that into a song using just little bits and pieces like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, or 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1, and where would that work in a song, and what types of songs, so how do you integrate it in there. Lots of fun. Everybody ought to learn how to do a triplet at some point in their evolution when you feel ready for that. It's unique to the ukulele. No other instrument does triplets in its strumming the way that ukulele desires. If you leave my class, you'll be exposed to a few different triplets. You'll figure out which one is best for you, and then you'll go on about your business of just practicing it over weeks or months or years. And I have students who worked on it for years and now they're just killing it. I have students who learned it in weeks to months. And so it really depends on you and how disciplined you are in your practice. But I love doing that class because I love triplets. And then my last class is arpeggio. Arpeggios are for everyone. This is just a pattern playing class. 4 to 6 of the most common patterns from inside outside. 4 3 2 1 sequence, alternating thumb, pinch techniques. How to finger pick in a waltz time. 1 2 3 triplet patterns, which make really good finger picking soloing as well. So how do you take a simple arpeggio pattern and use it to create a solo when you don't know what else to do? If you're strumming, you ain't going nowhere. And you happen to be smiling at the song leader. And as a song leader, somebody keeps smiling at me over and over in the group. It's sort of like they're saying to me, I'd be willing to take a solo, Little Rev. So I look out at them and I go, yeah, take it, Sue. And then all of a sudden, Sue's got this terrified look on her face. Like, I didn't want to take a solo, I'm just having a good time. But Sue had taken my arpeggio class and she practiced her triplet 1 2 3 sequence. And she said, okay, well, I'll just arpeggiate those chords. And she goes,
yeah.
so,
Combine that with some inversions, and you sound like you know what you're doing.
yep. And no one's going to say, hey, you just played a pattern over and over again for your solo. Why did you do that? Like, they'll just be like, oh, that was kind of cool,
Yeah.
You get to decide what to do. So that's a pattern playing class, and the three main concepts are: one, how to what are the basic patterns when you're starting out learning to become a good finger picker? Identify them. What are the most common? Two, how do we use them? Well, accompanying others when everyone else is strumming and you want to add another layer. Or two, self accompaniment when you get sick of strumming all the time to back yourself up and you want to be able to finger pick and sing at the same time. And then lastly, how can arpeggios be used for fills and breaks and solos and interludes and stuff like that? So, again, another real practical, user friendly class. And they're all things that I really enjoy teaching. So, it's just an honor to be able to do that and share that with people.
All right. Well, this I think this has given everyone a really great idea about, your personality, your teaching style, what you're going to be teaching, and that they can make their choices from there. We can finish up with asking you, is there anything you want to share with us? I know that you're going to be going on tour. If you have any products or books, you said maybe a book coming out, or let us know where we can go to check out what merch you have and all of those books that you've written and things like that.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll be vending at the festival when I'm not teaching. I should have a good variety of my books with me, and recordings, T-shirts, hats, lots of different ephemera for people to look at, and a lot of good study material type of stuff. People will find that at my website, littlerev.com. I also have an online school of pre-recorded classes, and these are just things that I taught other groups via Zoom. There's now, I think, about 18 pre-recorded classes, two harmonica, and the rest are all ukulele, a repertoire, and technique-based classes. I sell those for $25. So if you can't get to a class you really want because they're just something a little bit more important to you, you can always look at my online archive and study with me that way. But I'm hoping you're going to at least choose one or two Little Rev classes amongst the great offerings. These guys did a good job of booking some very, very, very good teachers. So you have some tough choices to make. And as far as books and other stuff coming out, there's always something in the pipeline. So just talk to me, and I can let you know what I've got out there and what's coming.
Oh, cool, man. Well, it's so fun to just sit here and hang with you and get to know you a little bit better and give everybody at home a chance to meet Rev if you haven't already, although I'm sure you have. I mean, you've been on the circuit longer than ukulele festivals have been a thing. So.
I'm a dinosaur.
We call you the OG, the original gangster.
I'm part of the ukulele mafia.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you at the next interview.